Hello, and welcome back to another episode here at the SteelerFury.com podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Kohlman. You know me as Smith has spoken on the message boards, joined by the best hosts that money that we just can't afford, really, but they keep showing up. Wil Masisak, you know him as Bradshaw to Ben and Accidentals in on Twitter, and Korey Karbowsky, known as Corey39 and at Korey Karbowsky on Twitter. Well, Korey, would you like to start off by taking the podium for the right pick last week?
Oh yeah, these guys might not even believe. Did I on the like? Did y'all read my pick off or no? Was it too late?
No, it was too late to read it on the show, so people don't even know.
Oh yeah. Will just texted me. It was like, "Oh, what's your pick?" Because I wasn't able to do it last
Right.
week, and I was like, "Oh shit." I was like, "I don't know. I'm feeling a win." And for those who listen, it's the most Corey reasoning of all time, which is Colts don't feel like a 9-1 team or whatever.
Eight
But I
and
didn't even
one.
give that. I just said Steelers blah 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 to blah blah blah. And they're like, "Whoa, like what?" I was like, "Okay, well they must have predicted losses." And then I felt pretty good watching the whole game. I was like, "Yeah, I've been wrong all year, but this is the first time it actually played out kind of how I expected." So, it took me not showing up on the show to get one right. It's like
Oh
the second
shit,
one
you're
I've gotten
right.
right
Hold
all
on, I
year.
got to
But
boot him off this week, guys. Oh,
I think you. I think to be
well, I'll
fair,
just
I think
predict the
you predict.
loss.
To be fair, I think you've predicted four correctly wins or losses out of the first eight, which puts you in elite company. I think there's only like in our whole like Steelers score game. I think we have 50 people, and maybe two of them have picked five winners. So
Actually,
yeah, so
oh,
four is up there. I picked three.
I felt like I was doing horrible.
I think it's just basically the point is the Steelers are just about as difficult a team to predict as you will ever find in the NFL. Like they could beat anybody, lose to anybody, and you have to like read the tea leaves to try to figure out, like which week is this? Is this like where they, everybody's hurt and they overperform just when you think they're coming off two terrible losses? Oh yeah, they're going to win this easily this week. Or is this like they've been looking great for 2 weeks and that people think they're going to the Super Bowl and then it's like wah, wah. So
right.
I think that's the secret to this is to just pick randomly. I think almost you should just have like a random number generator for the score, and you'd probably be more successful than we are on this show. Although I think Jeremy, you've also been very consistent this year.
Yeah, I don't know what the key to the consistency has been, but it's there, I guess.
Blind homerism. No, I'm kidding.
Blind
Well,
numbers. There you
well,
go.
Will, when you texted me, I didn't think about it at all until then, and I was like, I just literally I clicked the text. I mean, you guys know. Sometimes I take some years to respond, but I just saw the text. I was like, oh, this sounds right. Let's send that through, and I didn't think about it again until we were winning. I was like, I think I got this one.
Yeah, I think you should just pick that way every week. Uh,
I'm not
like
allowed to say it on the show. You
no,
got
you
to
just
send out
like
a
don't
random
even put any
time.
thought into it whatsoever. Just like spit out a number. Like I don't know.
Yeah, but it was nice that the Steelers could take care of business at home against the hottest team in the AFC, really the hottest team in the NFL. You know, coming into Pittsburgh with the Colts and everything, the pass rush was there, which kind of had vanished the last 2 weeks. So that was very nice to see that back into play. Actually making plays on defense and kind of making the Colts play to what we wanted them to. I actually had some friends over that were Colts fans, and we were all agreeing. I don't know why the Colts didn't try to run the ball more, but they were just thinking they were going to pass the whole time, which is not
They,
the way
they
to play it.
Jeremy, they had no design runs with Daniel Jones. That's like a big part of Daniel Jones's game. They
True.
did nothing.
Yeah, very true. So just
Weird.
nice to see a win. We didn't really play all that spectacularly on offense. If we weren't gifted the six turnovers that the Colts ended up, giving us, even though one was kind of on the last, hurrah of the game to try to make something out of something. But still, it's just nice to see the team get a win after some pretty down weeks. But still planning to get into with this game. Well, Will, what are your kind of some of your thoughts from this game? You mentioned it with the no Daniel Jones runs there. If you want to expand on that or go in a different
No,
direction.
no. Just something I want to say was it's not exactly like Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans, like their rivalry that those two have.
Mhm.
But Quentin Nelson and Cam Hayward have a thing that goes back several years.
Oh, really?
Um,
Okay.
I remember, I'm trying to remember, I think it was like maybe Quentin Johnson got him once, and it was, excuse me, a highlight that was played a lot or something. But then the next game, Hayward like totally like, you know, was it like he punch him or something? I can't remember exactly what they. I have to dig back in the memory hole. But at any rate, I thought that Cam Hayward made Quentin Nelson's a good player, but I feel like Cam Hayward came with like a slightly different purpose, right? Um, so that's the wrong microphone. I just switched microphone. Sorry, people. I'm trying. I got too much technology. I'm one of those people. I touched my headset and it
There
started
you go.
using it as the microphone. This is better, right? Okay. Anyway, I love that matchup for the Steelers this week, and I thought that was a big part of them not being able to run easily in the first couple of plays. Is that normally they run behind Quentin Nelson, and it didn't work out for them.
Yeah. Corey, kind of some of your thoughts from just kind of what you saw.
Well, that was the first Colts game I've watched, like sat down and really watched. And I know
Okay.
Jeremy's probably seen a couple more.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. To me, that looked like Daniel Jones. That that's about what I expected. I've heard like, oh, he's been better this year, and it's just crazy. But whatever the Steelers did, kind of sent him back to the Giants. Daniel Jones. I was kind of the same impression. I don't understand why they didn't really try and commit to the run more, especially if you're, putting the ball in harm's way. But I guess once you get down, it just starts to snowball. So I don't know. It's good on the Steelers for kind of stepping on their throat and not letting it stay close and taking advantage when they need to take advantage of. That's one thing that I think Tomlin's teams have kind of. It's always like they'll get the turnovers and then they'll take advantage, but then they just can't put the pieces together to take it away. It's like they're relying on it to win. This was a game where they kind of used them to put it away, if that makes sense. There's not a lot of games where we kind of really stomp it away like that. So that was good to see. Um, it's a good win. It's I don't think it's a premier AFC team, regardless of the record. It's a team that I would want to see in the playoffs. If you gave me a pick of 4 teams to see, they're definitely on the top 3 I'd be scared of. But still a good win. Don't want to discredit it. Good job being timely in the scores and the turnovers and all that is overall good game.
Yeah, but if you only listen to the people on X or Twitter, whatever you like to call it, we still only won by 1 possession, despite forcing 6 turnovers. So, some people just can't take good news at all. So
that game wasn't really like if you watched it.
I know that's the biggest joke.
Yeah.
But one thing I will say is the Steelers are +9 in turnovers against the New England Patriots and the Indianapolis Colts, and they are even on turnovers in the other what is that, other 5 games, 6 games.
Yeah, 6 games. Yeah.
So they're clearly like they're not a team that necessarily. I mean, it feels like one of those. The guy had 5 sacks in the game. Well, yeah, their tackle that you were playing against is just like was suffering. He was just the worst matchup. You were the worst matchup for him, and it got in his head, and you dominated him. And like, kudos to you. That doesn't mean you're going to get 5 sacks every game for the whole year. That's kind of how I felt about it. Was Daniel Jones and Drake May and company and the running backs for New England have put the Steelers in a position to be. They're +9 on the year, and it makes them sound pretty good in turnovers, but. You can see for yourself. It's 2 out of 8 games where they've really generated a turnover advantage. So, we'll probably see a couple more of those as the year goes on. Can you put 3 of those together in the playoffs?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They still gave up 400 yards or whatever, right, to the Colts. I'm not saying the game was close, but the offense didn't really move the ball all that well, and the defense still gave up a lot of yards and a lot of opportunities. So I guess if you're an optimist, you're like, well, there are things to clean up. Would rather find that out in the game they won. But I'm not sure you can count on that. I was really surprised about kind of the energy. Like I felt like the energy was really stale the last 2 weeks. And Tomlin's teams, as we know, we've said this many times on the show, they win with energy. They don't necessarily win with like we out thought them, we out schemed them. Minnesota game being a exception to that. But yeah, the emotion was, you could tell like the first 2 minutes that the emotion was there and that was good things were going to happen. I don't know. I felt like my dad used to say that he could tell from the first 2 or 3 plays of any Steelers game whether they were going to win or not. And I don't know. I'm 62. I feel like that's still pretty much been true my entire life watching them.
Yeah, I'm kind of going to build off that. There was definitely like a sense of urgency and energy. You could just feel it. TJ Watt looked like the very healthy version of TJ Watt. He was exploding off the line during the game. Alex Highsmith, same thing. Looked like he was kind of back, even though we'll get to the injury report today and he was on it. But, Nick Herbig looked explosive. Peyton Wilson did a decent amount of rushing in this game, and he looked great doing that. So hopefully we see a little bit more of that coming too. And one other thing we haven't really touched on, but Jalen Ramsey to safety was an excellent chess move to counter Tyler Warren. He was with him all game. He banged him even when he didn't need to. It was just nice to see Jalen Ramsey kind of do what I thought he was originally going to do, when we signed him. I thought we were going to play him at safety rather than outside corner. And sure enough, we do that one week, and it's like all of a sudden the defense looked a lot better. So, and now he's exclusively there moving forward too. They've said he is a free safety moving forward. They have officially benched Thornhill, as a backup now. So,
oh wait, hang on a second. Alex Pierce just caught another ball.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The one guy we let run all over us. Yeah.
Well, was that it, Jeremy, or?
That was just kind of the last thing defensively that I was just like very happy to see, of all the chess pieces kind of moving in the right direction this week. It was like that ended up being a much bigger move than what we thought it might be. It was a big net positive from the coverage aspect. So,
well, I think this is a big thing too, and I think this goes into the energy comment. And I just kind of thought about how you were putting it that way. I feel like when there's a team, everyone's talking them up, everyone's gassing them up. It's the 8-1 Colts. That's a team where you look at them on film, and I almost guarantee you they're looking at them and they're like, man, like, these dudes aren't that good. They're not 8-1. They're not, like, it's really, really easy to get out of bed for a game like that. Where a game where all the pundits, they've got all these people are like saying, oh, they're one of the best teams in the AFC, and and we know they're not. Or at least I really feel like I knew they were. But it's like, this team's not an 8-1 team. That's a whole different animal than, like, what's Baltimore's record right now?
3-5, I think.
Yeah.
Like, if you watch Baltimore on film, you're gonna see Baltimore and you're gonna be like, oh, like, this team's 3-5. Or like, you watch the Chiefs. Chiefs don't have a great record. It's like, oh, this team's
5-4 now.
5-4. It's like, so I think that's part of the energy. It's like, yeah, you can get up for a team that you think you should be, that you see on film. It's like, oh, it's not that good, but it's what we've seen in the Tomlin era. Not to discredit the win, but it's what we've seen in the Tomlin era. It's like, can you get up for the games that are going to be hard games against teams that don't really, at this point, I don't think don't really care about regular season winning. They've proven it at that point that the Chiefs and Ravens will go and kind of tank the first part of the season a little bit and then rattle off 10 towards the end. I think that the Colts, being what their record was and what their talent overall is, I think is really easy to get up for that game. You got to do it for other games then.
Yep.
The other thing that people said was that, well, but they always say about the Steelers, especially on defense, that they're just so simple. Their schemes are so simplistic. Yet somehow they gave credit this week for the fact that they simplified things, and that's why it was better to play. And it's like, okay, I guess you could say that. One thing I interpreted that in a way that I think made sense to me, which was that Patrick Queen was doing a lot of stuff beyond what I would say his toolbox. That's like the center of what he's good at. Has the green dot, and he's been communicating with people and try to get them in the right plays and right formations and stack the line and do a whole bunch of stuff. And it looked like in this game, they were like, this is your job. You cover this guy, you run this gap, and like, don't worry about any of the other shit. They got it, And I think that simplicity quote unquote, of making things simple worked way better for a player of his style. And that probably also helped Peyton Wilson because
Yeah.
I think low key that Peyton Wilson has been sort of he's been caught trying to figure out what Patrick Queen is doing in coverage, and simplifying Patrick Queen's role had the domino effect of simplifying Peyton Wilson's job. And I think also with Jalen Ramsey in there, they played more too high looks. And if you have a too high look, then Peyton Wilson looks great dropping, in the sort of the middle as the middle linebacker in cover two. So all in all, I thought that really suited him. But they somehow were able to play more too high looks and still stop Jonathan Taylor in the run game, mostly because they gave up on it, I guess. But
Yeah.
that was quite a trick. You're not going to see a lot of that.
Yep. Nice to see kind of all the weapons on offense get used too. Just one more thing there. Not that the offense was that great, but we ended up using
You're talking about Spencer Anderson caught a ball, right?
Yeah. Yeah, was that the opening catch for the Steelers? The Spencer Anderson catch?
I think that was in the script, the opening drive script.
Yeah. But just I don't know. It was nice to see us like all healthy and out there for a change. Like it was Calvin Austin's second week back, and you could tell that he was up to a little more speed. The one thing I will say, Roman Wilson, what the fuck are you doing at the end of the game there with that leap over? Like, dude, come on. Like you almost gave him a chance.
Is THC illegal under the current contract? Are they allowed to have gummies? I'm just asking.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that was not too smart. The Darnell Washington thing, where I know I'm preaching to the choir on this show, but guy ran real routes for like the first time, maybe in his entire career with the Steelers. Stuff that he was doing at Georgia, suddenly they were like, oh yeah, I guess you could do that. But that route where he ran up the seam and had a sharp in cut, and then the ball was behind him and he reached back and caught it and took the hit or whatever. Like that shouldn't be rocket science. That's like should be like the only time we had ever seen him do that in the NFL. The guy is a freak, and they really, I'm not saying Jonnu Smith has been a failure, but like what you're getting out of Jonnu Smith touches doesn't make any sense to me, really.
No,
not when you're a team that's trying to run the ball, because if you have Jonnu Smith on the field, it's a screen to the outside or not it's probably not a run play straight up. So
yeah,
take those touches and give them to Darnell Washington.
I have a legit question as to like how much more effective is he than if you just had Connor Hayward do the exact same things. But I mean, it's not like we gave up a crazy amount of like what was the deal to get him? He was a part of the
He was part of the Jalen Ramsey trade, technically. He got him and Ramsey for I can't even remember.
Minka in the 6th or something.
It's like with the 6th, it's like those guys almost never pan. It's like I'm not too mad at what we gave up. I'd rather have a shot, but like how much more is he doing than what Connor Hayward would have done?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I just think play action, and it's again going to be true this week when we get into this matchup, but play action to someone like Darnell Washington is a tool that they couldn't possibly overuse with how much they want to try to run the football and how good he is as a blocker. So yeah, it's like I compare. I know you look at the analytics. Look at his yards per target and what he's done with the opportunities that he's gotten. It's even with him not turning his head quickly enough on the slant at the goal line. I know how that is. Yeah. It's like when you don't have the reps and you're not getting those looks all the time, you lose track of how quickly the play develops from the quarterback stand. Got to throw it right now. But even with that, I felt like you can see it there. It's just a question of how willing are you to commit to doing more of it. I'd rather throw it to him than a screen to Scotty Miller. I get the occasional need for some other things, and Jalen Warren on the flats on the screen is great. Like makes a lot out of it, no complaints. But yeah, I would say on a day, especially where DK Metcalf is not producing anything, which is what happened in this game, then why the hell not? I felt like they probably should have gone to more.
Don't worry, Will. Help is on the way.
Yeah, that's kind of a good turning point. We've kind of talked this Colts thing off Breaking news: the Steelers didn't trade for anyone. I don't know if anyone was really surprised by that or not. I thought they might end up making like a late kind of move, like a move kind of like off the radar, less big name maybe ish. But at the end of the day, I wasn't that surprised. We've seen that this team really wants their draft picks for this next year. They weren't willing to overpay. You know, there were quite a few names the Steelers were tied to, but I think some of the teams that traded for like the Seahawks with Rashid Shaheed end up spending a fourth and a fifth for him. It's like I'm not giving up 2 picks for a number 3 type receiver. Trying to remember some of the other names. Chris Olave ended up now getting moved more to the Saints wanting to keep him there. God, there's one more receiver that got moved, and I'm totally blanking on who it was. But it was for like another 2 picks. And it's like I'm not giving up 2 picks for any receiver based off of the college wide receivers that I've seen for next year, you know. So all in all, not too surprising that we didn't really do anything. The big move was that they did was a week before the deadline, you know, going to get Kyle Duggar, who ended up playing 78 out of 79 of our defensive snaps this week. So I mean, we threw a lot on
incredible.
His plate. Yeah, we threw a lot on his plate right away, and he ended up playing pretty well in the scheme and everything, doing what we did. So looks like that could be a good thing moving forward. Some other minor moves today. Marquez Valdez-Scantling did finally sign. So Aaron Rodgers' favorite.
This was the help I was referencing.
Yeah, but I don't know if you're going to see him on offense. He's going to play special teams. I think.
Oh,
he's a gunner.
You want to bet, Will?
He's Darius Hayward-Bay. You know, so that's who he is. It's the same character.
Mm-hmm.
Will, I'm telling you, he's going to be on the outside. I can see it.
Do you really believe that, or you're just saying it?
No, I genuinely believe he's going to be on the field. Like I think it's going to be. I think he might end up the freaking number 2 receiver. I really.
Probably he duplicates what DK Metcalf is in terms of like his route tree and what he does. It's like it's not a compliment, really.
Perfect. That means they can do the same thing on both sides.
Deep balls, go balls. You know, run a back shoulder fade. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I suppose. Yeah, I expect.
I truly think that he's going to be on the field.
I don't know. Like every time they make this veteran move during the season, they don't really do anything with the guy. And like I said, I felt like that. I mean, I figure he's in the rotation behind Skoranek. Maybe they'll bury Roman Wilson in the doghouse a little bit now. That I could see. So I could see him being in your rotation of 4. But you know, they're with the stupid plan that they have on offense, they're better when Skoranek and is in there or when they have multiple tight ends. You know, it's silly to say.
I do like Skoranek.
Yeah, I just mean that he works. He's a perfect fit for what they do. You know, it's sort of asinine in terms of trying to really push the ball downfield, make explosive plays happen, score points, all that kind of stuff. But in terms of the small ball, physical ball that they want to play, he's been great at that.
Yep. And then a few other kind of smaller moves. The Steelers actually did sign someone to their active roster today. They signed Broderick Martin off the Chiefs practice squad. So when's the last time we've seen us do that? I mean, it's been a long time since we've signed someone off the practice squad of someone else's team and put them on the team right away. So he was a former 3rd rounder back in 2023. Let me see here. Sorry, I thought I had it all.
Was he Western Kentucky?
The Lions, Western Kentucky, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for beating me to it. I appreciate that. Since I didn't have it queued up.
He's a big dude. He's sort of like the poor man's or what's his name? Walker that we liked in the draft this year for Buffalo. Deion Walker. He's like a sort of poor man's Deion Walker.
Yeah, big dude. He's like 6'5".
He's pretty twitched up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was. I mean, he's. I thought that he tested well. He has a big, long frame. I think at the time when he was coming out in the draft, I want to say that was 23. That we talked about him. If I recall correctly, we talked about him as a fit for a Steelers defensive lineman for what they like to do. So I buy that. I mean, the defensive line was really active this week, and it looked like that Derek Harmon, had a lot of impact,
Mhm.
and at the very least got in Daniel Jones's head as far as the interior pressure, which was great. Keanu Benton had a couple of pressures, but yeah, Yaya Black, we haven't really seen
Mm-mm.
pretty much anything from him, so maybe this is a response to that somehow.
Yeah. Well, he'd have to play a little more too to actually grow. So, um, but anyway, I just thought it was an interesting signing, just kind of out of the blue. It's like, oh, we're signing someone off a practice squad to take a spot on the 53. Okay. Because I didn't really see the corresponding move there either. Like normally you see, okay, you signed someone, who'd you release?
Yeah,
But I didn't end up seeing that. On the topic of release, Beanie Bishop no longer a Pittsburgh Steeler practice squad member.
Oh,
Still,
damn.
still don't really
I
get
didn't
that.
realize that.
Yeah,
that
I
was
still
with
don't really get that. But
Valdez Scantling to make spot for him.
yeah, and they actually did a few more moves on the practice squad. I'm blanking on them. I don't have them pulled up or whatever. But they ended up shuffling some stuff around. Released John Reese Plumley, who was, like moonlighting as a
Damn
receiver.
it.
Yeah, I know. God damn it. Yeah. And
Corey.
a few other like smaller moves, but and they were kind of active, so I'll give them credit for that. They're hoping to add another person to the mix, maybe in a week or so, but I don't think he's going to get there. Asante Samuel Jr. does have a visit lined up for next Wednesday, but he is on quite the tour right now of teams that want him. I've got this pulled up here that I was
I mean,
reading.
is anybody afraid that he's not going to be able to
Who
play?
is it? I missed the name.
Asante
Asante
Samuel.
Samuel Jr. So he was visiting the Panthers. He's visiting the Packers tomorrow, the Vikings on Friday, the 49ers on Monday, the Bears on Tuesday, and then the Steelers on Wednesday.
Yeah, I just feel like they got to see him move to know if they want to sign him because
Right.
if you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he had neck fusion surgery this calendar year, like in 2025. So nobody's as far as I read, nobody has ever come back into the NFL after the surgery. So I take it with a grain of salt. Great name, great player, but like, what are you getting? That's if you
Sounds like
sure
his neck got fused up.
his neck, in fact, got fused up. Exactly.
Well,
So
and it's not like Asante Samuel Jr. was actually known for like his tackling anyway. So
I actually thought he was pretty scrappy, wasn't he?
yeah, I
I,
thought
I felt like he was early in his career, and then he like shied
Yeah.
away once
I
they weren't doing very good. He was
I think you're right on that. He had a couple.
yeah.
I'm thinking back to his rookie year where he had a couple. Now that you mentioned,
It looks like Corey froze there for a second, but yeah, like 23 and 24 were not his great years. Like he did a decent amount of struggling, missed a decent amount of tackles. But anyway, it found it very interesting or whatever. It's nice that we're at least kicking the tires on a very
yeah.
talented player per se, because I mean, isn't like the Steelers couldn't use more cover corners at this point, since Slay has just been so great and
I
Ramsey's
figure
back to
at some
free
point,
safety.
I feel like at this point, Darius Slay is just looking for an opportunity to have one of those like random injuries that ends his season. So that
oh,
he could get paid for the rest of the year without having to show that he can't play still, and maybe get one more contract next year. Whereas if he plays out the year, he might not get re-signed by anybody.
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean that's one way to look at it.
you throw 2,000 at one of the practice squad players to fall into your leg late in the play.
Oh yeah,
Oh, son of a bitch. Yeah.
it's kind of what I thought this last weekend because he had one of those injuries where it's like, what did he injure? I can't tell. And then he got up and he walked off the field. He looked fine. So yeah, it could be we're getting there. We're easing our way into the Darius Slay fake injury part of the
Right.
year because yeah, he's not been good. And okay, here's a question I'll throw to both of you guys because I'm not really sure I know the answer. Joey Porter Jr. Does it seem to you that he has developed into a better player now than he was the day that he got drafted, or does it seem static?
Pretty static overall.
Yeah, he's
Not much has changed since rookie year.
everything that was on film at Penn State's still there, which is good and bad.
Right.
It's a lot of the good stuff's there and a lot of the bad stuff's still there.
Yeah, the long arms are awesome, but the penalties are just like, oh my God. Like he continues to be the most penalized defender in the league since he's been there.
I,
That's
he
rough,
went
man.
he went over Gonzo, didn't he?
In terms of the draft, I believe so, yes.
That's unbelievable. That was unbelievable in the moment. That's ridiculous.
Maybe that's not true. Maybe they both went to the first round, maybe.
No,
I'm pretty
Porter was the first
sure
pick of
he
the second round. Gonzalez
He was a
went
first.
somewhere like at pick 19 to the Patriots or
Yeah,
something.
so yeah, Gonzalez went ahead of
Oh,
him.
that's when we traded up though and we took someone,
We
wasn't it?
took
That's what.
Jones. We
We
took
took Roderick
Jones.
Jones.
Oh
Yeah.
man, fucking home run right there.
Yeah.
Really stuck that one.
Yeah. Well,
Fucking Latu ate his lunch. I'll tell you that much. We're past the Colts game. Latu fucking punked him.
yeah,
He fucking stinks.
that was
I'm
not a
sorry for the
good
cussing.
showing.
He's not good. He's never been good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we're gonna just when we get used to the idea of seeing Darnell Washington on offense, and making some big plays for them as a receiver. We're going to find out that Broderick Jones maybe isn't really up for being your left tackle, and you're going to end up with Darnell Washington at tackle. Yeah. I mean, he's playing at over 300 pounds. That tells me that's the clue that everybody should be looking at to understand he's in the tackle development program business, and they're not really. They would if he were being counted on to be an offensive weapon for them going into the future. There's no way they would let him play at over 300 pounds. I'm sorry. It's not like I know he still looks pretty good moving at 300, but I feel like the fact that he is supposedly now not just 300, but over 300 tells me that before long he's going to have OT next to his name, which
I
is
don't give
not
him a
necessarily a
blank.
bad thing.
Give him a blank check at left tackle. We know he can do it. He shuts down edge rushers.
Yeah.
He pass protects for edge rushers and he mauls during the run game.
Mhm.
Get paid like a top left tackle.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
what
it
do.
also pays him, right? So it's like, yes, in our dreams, we love this outlier, tight end business, and they love the tight end so much. But yeah, it's like the reality is he could make more money and probably have more impact as a tackle. So
Honestly, that's not even. It's not that they love the tight end so much because like back in like the Seattle Jimmy Graham days, they loved the tight end. The problem with Arthur Smith is he loves the tight ends, plural. Like even if he has a good one, the other ones are still going to get freaking half the touches, like no
Mhm.
yeah,
matter what. So that's the problem is that you can love the tight end position, but it's not like if you have a dude, which is what he is. Let Drew Brees have had Darnell Washington back in that era. Oh my God.
no, you guys are too young to remember Eric Green. The Steelers had a 280 some pound tight end who could not be solved by anything other than crack cocaine. He
Imagine
was
him and
a tremendous football player. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
imagine him and Levon Kirkland in the freaking alley.
It would have been an interesting foot race. But yeah, Green was more athletic than Kirkland was, even though they were similar sized. And it was like teams had no answer for him because he was a great blocker, bigger than he was like an extra offensive lineman. In that era, he was the weight of tackles. And then he could run routes and was athletic and jump over people and stuff. And they, to their credit at that time, that was still Chuck Noll, I think. They used him a lot. It's just that, like I said, his career fell apart because of drugs. But man, he was a wonderful football player. At his peak, one of the best Steelers offensive players of my lifetime. I guess which is really saying something. But he might have been the best tight end that the team has ever had, for that short period of time. But anyhow, I feel like you get your couple of touches for Jonnu Smith and a couple of touches for Pat Freiermuth, a couple of touches for Cam Hayward. That's fine. It's the blocking in the run game that's the problem. It's not they like to use the three tight ends, but none of them are really blockers.
Right.
That's why you need a Darnell Washington, or you need to replace him with somebody who is more like him.
Well, yeah. That man's name is Spencer Anderson.
I actually, oh my God, that got me. Spencer Anderson. You've seen the clip of the Penn State offensive tackle coming across for a split zone hit, where it's like basically a blind side full speed counter. I saw freaking Spencer Anderson get that. It was like a pillow on the end of that contact. It was There was no movement. How are you
Right.
320 pounds coming from across the formation? You don't even move the DN. Like, thank God we got good downs from the right side of our line, and it still opened up a crease. But I'm like, man, that's a freaking highlight play. We got the wrong man in there. That should be someone who's like, doesn't care if they have CTE or not. You got to knock that dude's screws loose.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's their opportunity to catch that
Yeah.
backside guy
That's
crouching
that. You
down.
could
Yeah.
sit that D end out for the rest of the game on that block.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, since we're talking about personnel, let's kind of get through the injury report here very quickly.
One very, as I said to Jeremy before the broadcast started, there's one name on the injury report for the two teams that I think is, if there's any chance this person misses the game, it's almost a certain loss. If he plays in the game, it very likely makes it a win. So that's a serious name. So I'll let you.
Since
figure
we're
out who that might
talking
be.
about said name, we are talking about Darnell Washington. He did miss today with a foot injury. However, it is not thought to be serious. I was reading that from, I think it's the Penn Trib Live.
He was doing a little his foot was doing a little stand up, telling some jokes. Sorry, go ahead. Not considered too serious. All right, sorry. Put him on.
Nope, you're good. Scotty Miller, no, with a not practice. Corey Trice Jr. I don't know why he's still on the team. Like you have to be available to play, and he's never available to play. I'm sorry. It's just that it's my number one tirade with players. If you're always injured, you can't be on my team.
Listen, he lacks the best ability to be in the NFL.
Right.
Availability.
Right. Jabril Peppers did not practice today, so it sounds like, we'll see how that goes, but he missed this past week. Cole Holcomb missed again with an illness. Alex Highsmith did not practice with an ankle, but if I had to guess, that they didn't designate it as resting vet day, but he played pretty good on Sunday. So unless he screwed up something really late, my guess is they're just staying cautious with that. Isaac Seumalo, he actually started and played, which I was shocked. But again, he injured that pec, did not practice again today. So you have to wonder, that's more serious this time around. Does Spencer Anderson pop inside and we lose the jumbo package like we talked about last week or not? We don't have to get back into that, but that's always a big thing. Yep. And Jonnu Smith is on there with a resting veteran day. I don't know why. But
what is he resting from?
Yeah, I don't know. I was going to say something really rude, and I held back there. So
being Arthur Smith's best friend.
Okay.
I guess
that's one way to put it.
I was wondering if DK Metcalf got a vet rest day, because I was going to say he got one on Sunday.
Yeah, for real. For real.
6 yards, guys, for DK Metcalf.
My fantasy team really appreciated it.
Oh, I know. Same here. And then I don't know if this is good news or not, but Chuck Clark fully practiced today. So I don't know if he deserves to play much, but he did practice at least.
I think I would prefer to not see Chuck Clark.
Right. Chargers have not officially released anything yet as of Wednesday, so don't really know what the injury prognosis there is. However, they did make a trade at the deadline the other day. They ended up trading for Trevor Penning, who was with the New Orleans Saints, and they expect him to compete for a tackle spot right away. And that's because their offensive line is in shambles. They've lost Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater for the year again, which is not surprising at all. I think they've missed the last 2 years.
They've been working out with Corey Trice. They've been working out with Corey Trice.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead.
What year are we in, Jeremy? This could be 21, 22, 23.
I know, 24. Right? It's like, oh, they're not available, huh? Which you have to feel for Rashawn Slater, because he just signed this mega deal this offseason, like be their left tackle or whatever.
Poor dude.
I know.
Generational wealth.
Yeah, right. And then Joe Alt missed a few games to start the year, but then came back and was playing left tackle pretty good. But then he's done for the year now with a really bad ankle, which he's having surgery to correct that. So he's done for the year. So let's kind of jump into matchups, and I'm going to start right there. If we had good success against the Colts with the pass rush, we should be tearing the Chargers a new one too. We really should at this point, because that, like, Trey Pipkins at right tackle playing against Watt, he should feast on that. Should.
See, I think Trey Pipkins wasn't he one of the linemen in the game where the Chargers had lost all their linemen and he came in and stonewalled the Steelers. Like I want to say that he was one of those guys that came off the street, but maybe I'm remembering
Well,
incorrectly.
and I'm not saying that he's bad. I'm just saying it's like, that they are literally down to their fifth and sixth offensive tackles again. Like almost like it was like 2 years ago when we were doing this exact same podcast. Like they're down to their fifth and sixth string offensive tackles again.
Rashawn Slater's out. Oh man.
Right. Yeah. And then honestly, their interior guys are not that great. Zion Johnson has not lived up to the first round draft pick stuff yet. He's played better this year, but I just don't buy it. Bradley Bozeman is decent at center. I'll give him that. He's a nice little stone there. But then I can't remember who the right guard is. I've got like a million.
Becton. But
Becton.
Yeah. And then
is constantly in and out.
Jamari Sawyer. Yeah, sorry. I was going to say Jamari Sawyer played a lot last week. I saw him in the game. But
right. So literally this article from 10 hours ago from the Sports Illustrated was like Chargers offensive line completely reshuffled after multiple moves. And it's like, that's what I love to see on a week where they have to go up against, multiple guys that can get after the pass rush. So I think Pittsburgh has a lot of advantages with Hayward, Harmon, and our group of outside guys. Even Jack Sawyer is starting to play a little faster. Got an interception off a deflection, but at least he's out there like looking like an outside linebacker now, as to where like the first few games of the year was like you could tell he was still adjusting to the position. So Korey, I'll go to you next. What's another matchup we should be on the lookout for?
So there's not really much firepower over on their offensive side of the ball, except, Quentin Johnston is just like super feast or famine. Like he's either going to hit you for nothing or he's going to give you 120, 130 and a touchdown or two on you. It's that, I mean, I'm being like very serious when I say this. That's a very, in a game like this, which not to jump to the prediction, but in a game like this, a guy like that is going to be probably a pivotal swing, like one of those guys where you either keep him in check for very little or he's going to put up, a touchdown plus some on you. That's going to be a bit of an issue. Now, the Steelers have guys to kind of go run around with him. I don't think he's good enough to demand a specific matchup, but if you can keep him really quiet, I don't think they've got the breakaway tools outside of that to really do much with it. So I'm not sure how the Steelers plan to handle him, but I do know that if you let him go, freely, he can hurt you. He's developed a little bit. He's not the same Quentin Johnston he was last year and the year before.
I'll give you that. Will, what's
no, to piggyback on that for a second, I think that he's playing like 50% better than he's been playing in previous years.
Yes.
Johnson, I feel like, is making some plays, adjusting to the football, running better routes, contested catches a little bit better. So I think that's great. But I will disagree with Korey, though. I think actually the other guys they have are really good. I think this is it's not Cincinnati Bengals level of with that 1-2 punch that they have, but they're deeper. Aronde Gadsden, to me, the matchup here is, yes, you put what's his name, Jalen Ramsey on the tight end last week with Tyler Warren, but Aronde Gadsden might as well be from a different planet. Yes, they're both tight ends, but Gadsden he's been off to a great start to the season. One of the best rookie offensive performers in the league. Definitely a candidate on the short list for offensive rookie of the year. And he's just one of those guys that's like a little bit bigger than a wide receiver and way more, better route runner, better, threatening the middle of the field and the deep ball. I feel like that with the way Quentin Johnston has played, that's great. But then you have Keenan Allen. It's like you can't forget about Keenan Allen. And I would suggest to you that Ladd McConkey is actually a tough matchup for what the Steelers are going to put out there against him. So what I fear is that you're going to end up seeing the defensive strategy be more like it was against Cincinnati in terms of letting them have it'll be more quick game. And that, really tends to neuter the pass rush a little bit. So that the thing I fear is, yes, there's pass rush problems with the reformed offensive line, but if you get the ball out quickly and you have a good quarterback who can deliver all of those things, which we know they do, that is a danger to me. But the real hidden thing, though, is the Chargers are. I don't know how much the changes on the offensive line will affect this, because Joe Alt wasn't really playing early in the year, nor was Solier. They're like a top 5 rushing team in the NFL in terms of their productivity, their EPA. So they're like everything Cincinnati wasn't running the football, and Cincinnati was still able to run it because the way they felt they had to play to prevent the big plays in the passing game. So I think we're going to see a similar situation with the way we saw the Bengals offense look. I would expect it. They got to have some answers to that they didn't have against Cincinnati. I'm not sure what that would be.
Well, and you mentioned the wide receiver room there. I mean, they've got guys behind those guys too. Trey Harris was a 2nd-round pick that
Another guy.
a lot of us were, and he's actually contributed a little bit. And
KLS,
then
our guy.
I was about to say, our guy that we ended up taking, Keandre Lambert-Smith, he's actually been a healthy scratch most of these times because he's not a big like special teamer. That they have Darius Davis on there more for like special team stuff. So, and he's a huge speedster. Don't really have much else at tight end. That's why Ronnie Gadsden has really flown up their depth chart or whatever. But going back to the running game, I don't feel like they've been that good in the running game in the games I've watched. Vidal has, had like one really good game, but is like slowed down since. And Jarrett Patterson's been okay, but I have to wonder if, I know you said the game plan may look more like what we did against the Bengals, but it wouldn't surprise me if this turns into more of like a Colts deal where they realize they need to try to beat us through the air, because I don't think they have the running attack anymore, especially with a bunch of like offensive linemen shuffled around. And then I meant to go down further on this article. The presumptive starting lineup is Trey Pipkins at left tackle, Johnson at left guard, Brett Bozeman at center, Becton at guard, and Penning at right tackle.
Ooh.
Yeah, that Penning against Watt matchup
is. They got to keep Pipkins over there, and Pipkins isn't some world beater, but Penning's not. That's not the kind of tackle that you want against Watt.
Yeah, so I'm not saying they can't run the ball, because I mean, let's face it, teams have definitely run the ball on this defense. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But
we wouldn't be forward in a week.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how efficient they are.
Maybe I read the numbers wrong with their rushing, but for some reason I thought they were good.
So
rushing.
You got to remember
they were when they had Hampton. When they had Hampton, they were very good. But since then,
Hampton and Najee, I can't remember how early, but I remember the first 3 weeks they were really, really, really good. And then it was like, since they went to Vidal had a good first week, and then immediately after that first week, it's just been nothing.
Yeah. Well, but Justin Herbert is a rushing threat. So
yeah,
it does sort of expand what they can do. When I say rushing, I'll include that. But yeah, like I said, I feel like the Cincinnati, the opportunistic running in the run game, and the Steelers being forced to be in a position to play more of an umbrella in terms of their coverage and to spy Herbert, because I think you have to. And that really changes the game from last week. I don't think they really respected Daniel Jones's ability to do anything but drop back in the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And once they got them out of that off balance with the quick game, like in other words, they adjusted covering to the quick game, then Daniel Jones was forced to hold it, and that was the end of the story. So I feel like with Herbert, you always have to be aware of him running. He's a really good runner. I mean, by that, not just he's athletic, but I mean, he has a really good sense of when to go and how to get there. So yeah, I'm a little bit more concerned about what they might be able to do on offense, even with the offensive line situation.
Yeah, and I'll kind of flip it around here. Just one more area I'd like to talk about. The Chargers front seven has a lot of talent on it. Doesn't always play up to it at times, but they do have a lot of talent. I was a big fan of Jamari Caldwell out of Oregon. He's playing very well for them as a rookie, as their nose tackle in the 3-4. Tier Tart is a name I've been on for God knows how long. I remember trying to get IU to recruit him before he was even in college, just because he had that rare blend in size that the SEC loves to recruit. But then, and I'll let Korey and you talk about your favorite linebacker on this defense, because he was definitely your guys' guy. But Khalil Mack is always going to be a guy that is going to give, whether it's Jones or Fatanu, he's going to make him earn every penny. Still very good in the running game and, very good at that. Gonna see a former Steeler out there too, and Bud Dupree, who's been getting a lot of action. Who's actually still looks the part, but doesn't really close like we were used to. But he's athletic enough to keep on that team. And I'll let you guys talk about the favorite linebacker that you wanted to draft a few years ago.
I mean, it's what I thought he would be. It's what he put on film. We don't take West Coast players, but he's now remember. Actually, he really should have been doing this since his rookie year. If you remember the old staff, there was like a weird joke about like how he was like a backup only during like the birthday thing. It was something weird like that. But as soon as he got the keys his sophomore year, he's been a beast. Like he's been a beast since he came in. I get he's getting a little more buzz this year, but he's a baller. He can cover. He flies around the field. He's physical. I'll let Will say his part, but it's what I thought he would be. He's a baller.
Yeah, no, same thing. I mean, it was obvious that he was coming out, and they always wanted to pick him apart. He was one of those prospects that got picked apart because he wasn't from the SEC. He wasn't from the Big Ten. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. And
little respect for Pacific Northwest football.
Yeah, and for the record,
the guy can play. Their defense, I think, is the real deal. They have been consistently good. They are I may have been wrong about them as an offensive rushing team, but basically their defense is overall that's around a top 10 defense. But their specialty is they get after the passer. They can cover and they can rush the football, rush the pass. So they are a team that what's really going to happen in this game is the struggle to get ahead in this game. You want to be playing from the lead against either of these two teams. If you get in a situation where you're behind and they know you have to throw it, whoever that team is in that situation is going to be in trouble. But the Chargers have been absolutely terrible against the run. They're so good against the pass that they're still a top 10 defense, but they're like bottom 5 in the league against the run. So, from the Steelers standpoint, you have to, ideally you would get them in a situation where they're trying to protect against you running the football, but then use that against them to attack and actually make some hay out of it. But I have a feeling the Steelers are a little bit more simplistic than that. They'll just think we can run the ball against them, and they will come out with a run-heavy attack probably, which I don't know. I just don't. I mean, here's my dilemma, guys. I feel like you're going to have to score some points to beat the Chargers at home, and in order to do that, you have to go away from what your strengths are and what the Los Angeles weaknesses are. So that's the part that I'm not sure what the game plan is going to be.
Gotcha. And for the record, since no one actually said his name, we were talking about Deion Henley.
I'm sorry. I thought you mentioned it. Yeah, sorry.
No, but I didn't. I was like, oh my God, did no one bring up his name?
I mentioned earlier, in case you weren't sure who I was talking about.
Yeah, so Deion Henley, the third-year linebacker out of Washington State, was someone we were all in on. Will and Korey brought him to me, because let's face it, wasn't super being in Big Ten country. I don't see a lot of Pac-12. I want to go to bed before 3 a.m. a lot of times when those kick off. So
I was playing with Cam Ward. Playing with Cam Ward is what got him on our radar as well.
That's fair. That's very fair. But then another former Steeler, actually Dante Jackson, has actually played pretty well for them. So you have to wonder, if what would have been better if we could have kept
trade
him
secrets
or something. But
trade secrets.
Yeah, trade secrets. But then the other guy you have to watch is, because he's truly one of a kind at his position, Derwin James, just freaking monster. Everyone, bona fide first rounder coming out. He's done nothing to change that since or whatever. He's usually good for a good personal foul here and there. But other than that, he's just out of this world awesome. So he's getting always an interesting chess piece to see how the Chargers use him. So any other matchups or guys we feel like we need to highlight here?
I think I've mentioned it. I don't know. What do you guys think about the coaching matchup this week in terms of how do you feel about the Chargers?
I was going to wait for that for the prediction.
Now we can hop on that now, and I'll go ahead, Corey. You start. You were raring to go there. As soon as Will said that, he was like, "Oh." So
Well, it's two sides of the same coin. I guess I'll throw a matchup out there. Boswell versus Dicker. This is gonna be it's two passive coaches, and they're gonna kick field goals. That's going to go into my prediction, which is more so probably won't happen. But no, there it's two TOP coaches, and they want to win with defense. One has Herbert, but a completely battered O line, and the other one has 50-year-old Aaron Rodgers. It's I don't know these guys. It's like when you play Joe Flacco, you know what you're getting.
yeah, I
I
was
will.
gonna go ahead,
I'll
Will.
go ahead, Jeremy. You first.
Okay. I was gonna say, we thought the coaching matchup was gonna be a problem last week, and it ended up not being one. So I would say maybe Tomlin and crew this week just a little better with some momentum off a big positive game like that, and a little bit more offensive consistency this week. But yeah, I mean, pretty even overall though. But yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say there was a chart that made its way around from Pro Football Focus this week that was um, special teams and turnover contribution. So in one corner of the chart is the Steelers, who are like in another universe from every other NFL team in terms of special teams and turnovers contributions, and the Chargers are in the lower left corner.
Mm.
So it's definitely a game where, as so far this season, their special teams and their ability to create turnovers is small.
Gotcha. All right. Well, believe it or not, there are some other games happening in the NFL. I know we like to harp in on our 5-star matchup every week, but there's actually a few other good games here too, and actually some high-profile games this week. Not the kind of the situation that we had this last week, where I thought, man, it's tough to pick out some like tougher games to pick or whatever. But let's start out with I won't call this a surprising team or whatever, but they're on the up and up. The New England Patriots are heading down to Tampa Bay to take on the Bucks. Bucks are at home and favored by 2.5. Corey, you're shaking your head. We're going to go to you first.
I'm not. I saw this graphic when I was watching the NFL Network. It's like we're picking Drake May as our MVP pick. Are we serious?
Yeah.
Like he's fine, but nah. Yeah, I'm not with that. It's the Bucks are I think a better team. It's not Patriots. I think they're on the come up, but I think they got a little too much helium right now. I think the Bucks are a sound team. They got a lot of pieces on offense. They're fairly deep on defense. They're doing a good job over there. I'm taking the Bucks. You could have given me like 5 points. I'd probably take the Bucks to cover.
All right, Will, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are similar. I just feel like the Patriots feel like a team that is played really good to start the season, but there's kind of a big difference between the beginning of the season good and as we start to work our way towards teams finding themselves a little bit. You get a veteran team playing at home like Tampa Bay with a good quarterback. I feel like this is a game where they're slightly healthier than they have been the last couple of weeks, and it's a nice matchup for them. Actually, I feel like I like Tampa Bay to win and cover.
No one hopping on this New England Patriot bandwagon here, guys. Come on.
Nope,
Me neither.
all use me.
Yeah, no, me neither. um,
All you, Jeremy. All you.
yeah, Patriots have been fun to watch. I'll give them that. But the Buccaneers are just the better team. They're at home. It's this isn't one of those games where it's like you've got an East Coast team traveling to the West Coast or wherever. You're just moving south. I think you're only behind an hour. I think Tampa Bay or no. I think you're in the same time zone actually. So I just like the Buccaneers here too. Just better overall team, if you ask me. And I think they're going to have some opportunities. I think Ramondre Stevenson's back this week, so Fumble Monster is back at it. I'm calling it right now. All right, let's go out to the West Coast now, though. The battle for the the top spot actually for the NFC West. The Rams have to go play the 49ers. So this might be the game of the week. It really is. This is slated for that 4:25 time slot, so it's probably going to be the one most of the nation gets to watch anyway. But the Rams are 4.5 point favorites going to play the 49ers. Will, I'll let you start off here.
I like the Rams to win a very close game, so I will say they will win but not cover. Yes, it's San Francisco, legions of problems with injuries this year. Very long list, similar to the Chargers. But I think that they always play this division rival, very, very tough games, close games, better than you would expect them to play. I think the Rams are got a pretty good thing going right now. They're a little bit more consistent than San Francisco has been. So I'll take the Rams in a close one.
Okay. I like the Rams too. I've been pumping the Rams for like the last 2 years as like kind of that sleeper team, and they started out slow last year and then reared into form. Became a good playoff team. They started off hot this year, so I like the Rams too. I was just about to say I feel like the 49ers were one of the teams that actually traded for a receiver. Could be wrong.
They traded for edge rusher.
Edge rusher. Okay.
Tyron, whatever his name is now.
Oh, Tryon showed, Joe Shamka or whatever. He was with the Browns. That's what I was thinking or whatever. But I could have swore they added a receiver, but maybe I'm thinking wrong here. Because that second receiver that got moved on at the deadline is still escaping me. I don't know why. Still escaping me. I don't know why. But I like the Rams. Their offense has just been really good this year. Stafford, honestly, should be talked about as an MVP candidate, for all the other guys that we've talked about here with Drake May and some of the other guys throwing their names into it. Well, why Stafford hasn't been getting that same type of nod? Everyone's even talking Sam Darnold, for how well he's playing against Seattle as a potential MVP candidate.
Yeah.
So, but I like the Rams here. They're healthier. They're more explosive. That's why I like them. And like you said, the 49ers are just banged up and can't really cover anyone. So they will have to keep this a low scoring game if they want a chance to win it. So, Korey, I'll go to you. What's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, if the Rams weren't home, I could probably be talking the 49ers. These two teams are always close, but I think the home field advantage, I'm kind of with Will. It makes it a bit easier to pick the Rams here. I think the Rams are better. I think the NFC West was one of those divisions where they were doing that weird like away home trading thing where the away team kept winning last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's been the case this year. I think I'm going the Rams this year. Not this year, just this game. I do like the 49ers, but this is one of those ones where I think it's too close to not go with the home team.
Fair enough. I think Kyle Shanahan should be in like one of those coach of the year votes or whatever, because this kind of feels like the year that Tomlin had when he had to win with like Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph and stuff, just with everything that's gone wrong. San Fran has found a way to win the close game and keep games close. So, Will, do you have one more thing you wanted to say on that?
I think actually it was not Joe Tryon. I want to say Shankar. No. That's not it. It was Keon White, I think, was the pass rusher.
They did trade for him like a week ago.
They did not trade for a wide receiver, as far as I can tell.
Okay, gotcha.
It was Adonai Mitchell went somewhere.
Oh, he went to the Jets, part of that Sauce Gardner deal.
Right. So there were some other wide receivers. Jalen Polk went to the Saints.
Okay.
And Jacoby Myers went to Jacksonville.
That's the one I was thinking of. That's the other name that Myers was constantly leaked to Pittsburgh. I could not think of it when we were doing it earlier.
Yeah.
But which is actually kind of surprising that Jacksonville ended up being a buyer.
I was surprised. Yeah.
But anyway.
They believe.
Yeah, another great game in a team that has to find a way to defend their home turf after a surprising 16-13 loss at home to the Carolina Panthers. Packers host the Eagles fresh off a bye. So Packers find a way to get back and going here. That was a huge surprise that Carolina went in there and got a win. I'll start off on this one. You would have thought with the Packers being at home that like when the Packers play at home, they've been invincible with Jordan Love. However, that was not the case this past week. They really need to bounce back. I'm not sure if they will though. Eagles are coming off a bye. Eagles actually made quite a few moves too. They were traded for Jalen Phillips to help boost the pass rush even more. Made a few other moves too. I think they got a corner. Just they're at
Michael Carter.
Thank you. I was very sad. I'm gonna forget that name too. I'm not good with names tonight, guys. My apologies. But I like the Eagles to go in there and steal another win. I think the Packers are kind of reeling. I think the Eagles are ready. They've started to play better. AJ Brown's been a little bit more of the offense. And I think with the Packers losing Tucker Kraft, that is going to just be a massive hole for how well he's been playing. He's playing all pro, first ballot tight end so far this year. And I think that's just going to be a big loss. I know they have a few other guys like Musgrave and some other guys that they're going to use to try to help fill that. But what made Kraft so good was he was a good blocker too. And the other guys aren't quite as well rounded. So I like the Eagles. They're getting 2.5. So I like the Eagles to win and cover that 2.5.
Yeah.
Korey, go to you next.
It was me. Sorry, it cut out.
Yeah. Let's go to you.
Yeah, you said it. Tucker Kraft was the best tight end in the NFL, and he was a huge. I mean, he was a reliable third down target. He was blocking hard for him. Not that Luke Musgrave can't stretch the field, but I mean, he was like the best George Kittle we'd seen. That's what Tucker Kraft was kind of looking like. Maybe even a little more dynamic in the terms of passing, down the field passing wise. I think if it was a different week, even without Tucker Kraft, the Packers might have a better crack at it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Coming fresh off that, where you basically lose your number one option, I'm liking the Eagles here.
Okay.
Yeah, Jeremy, I think you nailed everything about this game on both sides. Like the Eagles off the bye, it's kind of like I feel like their season sort of begins now. They have almost no pressure to win their division right now, so they're really playing to position themselves. I mean, the other teams in their division really play poorly, so
that's true.
Chances are they're positioning themselves for, are we going to get a bye? Are we going to have a home playoff game? I'm sure they would prefer to be the 1 or 2 seeds. So that's probably kind of what their sights are set on now. And it starts with, they don't seem to be like a team that if the other team is struggling, they don't let them get off the mat, So I think that they smell blood in this matchup. I would without Tucker Kraft. It's going to take the Packers a couple of weeks to kind of get back on track would be my guess. So like the Eagles.
All right. That means I screwed up. They're going to lose. Okay. With all of us picking them. But let's tune to our matchup. Really not a big fan of some of the other ones. Unless we want to pick like the battle of the worst versus the worst. The Browns are going to the Jets.
Well, Tennessee just entered the chat. They would like to know where they are in that conversation. Also, New Orleans. There's some competition for that worst team.
Yeah, there is. I jest or whatever, but it's just kind of funny. It's like I saw it, I was like, yeah, we're not picking that one. Funny enough, I think the Titans are on a bye. So at least I don't see them on here. But anyway, we weren't going to that anyway.
When is the last 0-0 tie in NFL history? It's been a while. Let's put it that way. I think the Steelers played in the second lowest scoring game in like 50 years or something.
What was that? The 3-0?
Yeah, the 3-0
against Miami in the monsoon game. Yeah. But good news is Pittsburgh is actually going to go somewhere where they don't have to worry about weather at all. They have to go out to LA to take on the Chargers. Chargers are at home. They're favored by 3. So, Will, I'm going to start with you. What do you think is going to happen? Let's get a score.
Well, I think that if I were just picking based on all the analysis that I poured over for this game and just, thoughts about it in terms of like my vibe for what's probably going to happen in this game, that I would say that the Chargers are going to put up 30 and the Steelers do not have the offense to match that against the Chargers team. I just, it's just the idea that how you really beat them is running the football, and you have to have a defense that's good enough to not give up 30 to them. And I think the Steelers, if they play a good offense, really good defensive game, and the Chargers make a couple of mistakes, of course they'll be in a position where they can win. But despite all that, I'm going to say the Steelers win this game because it just feels like it fits their pattern. A sloppy win, a less than dominating win, but escape from the West Coast with a win in this one. I guess I'll say they figure out some way to get to 28 and win 28-27 over the Chargers. I don't have any real good gut feeling of why that's going to happen because the Steelers on offense haven't done much. And like I said, I feel like the Steelers are going to play very passively, not to get burned kind of pass coverage. And we know what that looks like with this team.
Gotcha. Korey, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a sloppy kicker fest. I think that both coaches will settle, but I think both teams will be able to do some things and then end up stalling out. I'm going to go with a 19-16 Steelers win with 7 combined field goals.
Wow.
This would be a hell of a call if I nailed it compared to my vague Steelers score prediction last week. But I don't know. This feels like maybe we're losing and, we got to go nail one through at the end. This just feels like a big Boswell game. Chargers and Steelers kind of want to play the same brand of football. They just kind of do it in a little bit different ways. But I sure hope we end up with the ball last because this could easily flip on its head if Herbert does. So I'm going to go 19-16 Steelers on a sloppy one, but I could see both teams, doing some things well and having some ugly parts.
By the way, my 28 included a 2-point conversion. So it was 4 field goals. Yeah, just like
okay. All right. I like that. Well, sneaking that in there. I like it. I will say I think Pittsburgh just has such an advantage defensively compared to their offensive line. And Herbert has really struggled in games where he doesn't have the pocket to make stuff happen. And I understand he's a bit of a runner, but like I watched the game the Colts played against him, and the Colts, I said it last week. I don't feel like the Colts have like this amazing front four from a pass rushing perspective. Like Buckner's good and Latu's good. And those guys were just having feasts, and this offensive line is getting reshuffled again. Trevor Penning, first start at right tackle versus what looks like a healthy TJ Watt, which makes all the difference for the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. We've seen it over the years. When Watt is fully healthy, this team wins most of its ball games. When he is dinged up to the nth degree, I have a hangnail, we don't, So I think we're relatively healthy heading to this game defensively and offensively for the most part. I think the Steelers squeak one out, though. I do think they're going to have some success because this is a team that's built to come back. The Chargers are as where we typically aren't. So I like a close game here. I like 26-19. Like the Chargers move the ball, but have to settle for too many field goals, and Harbaugh is having a fit on the sideline that he can't get that touchdown on the board. So I like the Steelers 26-19.
Hey, quick, Korey failed to mention one of his guys playing in this game.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking to myself, well, the Chargers don't really have the tight end to chip TJ Watt. So what will they do? And I was like, oh, you know who they have, Korey?
Who is it?
Their fullback who was one of the guys that you brought to the table.
Oh, Matlock.
Yeah, Scott Matlock.
Yeah.
Scott Matlock, also a great attorney, a trial attorney. Yeah.
Yeah,
no, Scott Matlock had a very nice season for them.
One of those guys that should just have football player in his bio.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yep.
Another one of these new age 300-pound converts fullback.
I really do feel like that if the Chargers had a couple of injuries on the defensive line, that you'd see him over there. Also, but yeah, he's actually blossomed into quite a nice fullback for them.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons that that I was thinking about their run game being that maybe better earlier in the season than it is now, but that is they're old school the way they like to do it. But in order to run a lot and have success with the fullback, you got to have a good fullback. So that's one for them. Anyway, I just want to give you a shout out, Korey, because Korey saw him playing in the Hula Bowl practice, I think.
Yeah.
So
No, okay, gotcha. Forgot about that.
one of those guys. It's like, hey, look, that's an NFL player.
Yeah. And I'll tack it on. I just think they're going to have trouble running on Pittsburgh again this week. So I think that just puts Herbert more in the crosshairs again. And those are the games that they've lost this year, whether it's been them or the Rams or whoever. So I'm predicting we go out west and get a win. We'll see. That's usually not a thing that works, but we'll know whether I'm full of shit or not next week. But
hey, this team, it's like you almost be better off. Like I said, think Costanza-ing it. Like they're going to win this week. All right, I'm picking them to lose. They're positively going to get killed. All right, I'm picking them to win. I mean, I'm going to do that the rest of the year. I think that's a good strategy.
Right. Well, thank you all for joining us for another episode here at the SteelerFury.com podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Kohlman. You know me as Smith is Smoking on the Message Boards, joined by Wil Masisak, as Bradshaw to Ben, and Korey Karbowsky, Korey 39. It'll be interesting to see, and I didn't say this, but the Charger, since we're going to LA, there are a lot of teams that go to LA and tend to take that stadium over, and that was the case the last time we went out there. So it'll be interesting to see how well Pittsburgh, Steeler Nation travels to see how much of a home game or not this will be. Because the last time we went out there and played them, the stadium was like 50% Steelers fans. So it'll be.
Listen, man, I went to a Rams game at the Coliseum, and it was probably 20% Steelers fans. It was not a Steelers game. It was the Rams and the Buccaneers, and it was like, oh my God, there's Steeler fans everywhere in the stadium. So yeah, I feel like it's a low key Pittsburgh kind of a town there.
Yep. Well, we will see if they get the win out on the West Coast. Thank you all for joining, and have a good night.
Ciao. Go get them, Steelers.